From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the shortwave facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media or Voice of America on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang in Review. Malacañang on Monday said Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is now back to his regular work routine after undergoing overnight medical observation last week, dismissing online claims that he required surgery as nothing more than fake news. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro reported that the president's condition has improved and that he has already resumed attending meetings inside Malacañang. The 68-year-old president was taken to the hospital on January 21st after experiencing discomfort and was later diagnosed with diverticulitis, an inflammation of small pouches in the colon. He has since released a video message reassuring the public about his health. Castro stressed that rumors circulating online about the president undergoing surgery are completely false. Asked about the president's return to public engagements after several events were canceled last week, Castro said the palace may release documentation of his meetings to show he is in good condition.
Sa ngayon po ay masasabi natin maganda po ang kalagayan ng ating Pangulo dahil siya po ay kasalukuyang nasa meeting. At yun po, at marami po silang pinag-uusapan patungkol po doon at kung ano man mapag-uusapan may aari ko maibigay bukas dahil hindi pa po tapos ang meeting. Wala pong ganung balita na mabibigay po tayo dahil ngayon po ang Pangulo ay nasa meeting. So yan po ay fake news. Yung pagmi-meeting po ngayon, pagpupulong, malamang po ay ma-post ito para po mapakita natin na ang Pangulo po ay nasa maayos na kondisyon. Sa ngayon po, yan po ang schedule niya at siya naman po ay naka-attend. So masasabi po natin na back to normal po.
So wala na po siyang iniinda?
Hindi ko po masasabi. Personal niya po nararamdaman kung sumasakit ang kanyang tiyan. But sa ngayon po ay wala po siya iniinda.
Was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has approved the country's first National Digital Connectivity Plan, or NDCP, a nationwide blueprint designed to fast-track the rollout of fast, secure, and affordable broadband services and bring down internet costs for millions of Filipinos. The President gave the go signal during the 7th meeting of the Economy and Development Council in Malacañang Palace, marking a major step toward modernizing the country's digital landscape. The NDCP lays out a vision for a digitally connected Philippines, one that guarantees meaningful, inclusive, and transformative connectivity with accessible, affordable, high-speed, and secure digital services for all. The plan is anchored on 4 strategic pillars: strengthening governance and regulation to liberalize the sector, boost competition, and lower barriers for new players; expanding universal access, ensuring that even geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas are connected; accelerating infrastructure investment through public-private partnerships to speed up nationwide deployment; and building resilient digital systems that can withstand climate impacts, natural disasters, and cybersecurity threats. During the meeting, President Marcos acknowledged that the Philippines is still catching up with its Southeast Asian neighbors, many of which adopted similar digital strategies a decade earlier. Still, the chief executive expressed confidence that with today's more advanced and affordable technologies, the country can soon match regional standards in connectivity, speed, and cost. By 2028, the NDCP targets universal internet access for public schools, barangay halls, and health centers, a 30 to 50% drop in internet cost, and a significant boost in the country's average internet speed.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Monday, Malacañang said fewer Filipinos are experiencing hunger and poverty, crediting the administration's expanded social protection programs, particularly the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD's Walang Gutom program. In a press briefing, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the government welcomes the latest Social Weather Stations or SWS survey, which shows a continued drop in involuntary hunger nationwide. She noted that the improvement aligns with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to prioritize support for the country's most vulnerable families. Castro reported that the fourth quarter 2025 SWS survey found 20.1% of respondents experienced involuntary hunger, down nearly 2 points from 22% in September. She said the numbers indicate that government interventions are beginning to take hold. The President has ordered the DSWD to further strengthen the Walang Gutom program, with plans to expand its coverage to 300,000 beneficiaries in 2026 as part of the administration's push to eradicate hunger. Castro also cited the latest Octa research survey, showing declines in both poverty and food poverty self-ratings. According to Octa, self-rated poverty dropped to 37%, a sharp fall from 54% in September last year, described as the largest three-month decline recorded. Food poverty also eased to 30%, down from previous levels of 40 to 49%. Castro said the government will continue scaling up programs that address hunger and poverty, adding that the latest survey results underscore the need to sustain and expand targeted assistance for those who need it most.
Hunger incidents sa bansa bumaba sa tulong ng Walang Gutom program ng Pangulo at DSWD. Poverty self-rating bumaba rin. Alinsunod sa direktiba ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na tiyakin ang kapakanan ng ating mga kababayang lubos na nangangailangan ng tulong. Malugod na tinanggap ng DSWD ang resulta ng SWS survey patungkol sa pagbaba ng hunger incidents sa bansa. Ayon sa survey, bumaba sa 20.1% ng mga respondents ang nagsabing nakakaranas sila ng involuntary hunger. Nakita ang magandang resulta na ito kumpara sa nakaraang taon. Ayon sa ahensya, ang pagbaba ng dami ng mga Pilipino nakakaranas ng gutom ay malaking tagumpay para sa bayan. Ibig sabihin lang nito ay ramdam na ang mabuting epekto ng social protection programs ng pamahalaan. Gaya ng Walang Gutom program na naglalayong tuluyang wakasan ang gutom sa bansa. Ayon din sa utos ni Pangulong Marcos Jr., palalakasin pa ng DSWD ang Walang Gutom program upang palawakin ang coverage nito at makapaglingkod sa 300,000 beneficiaries ngayon 2026. Maliban sa pagbaba ng hunger incidence sa bansa, bumaba rin ang poverty and food poverty self-rating ayon sa survey ng Octa Research. Batay sa resulta na pinakahuling tugon ng masa survey, bumaba na lamang sa 37% ng respondents ang nagsasabing sila ay mahirap. Malaking pagkakaiba mula sa 54% noong September ng nakaraang taon. Ayon sa tala ng Octa, ito ang pinakamalaking pagbaba ng self-rated poverty sa loob lamang ng 3 buwan. Bumaba din ang food poverty incidence sa antas ng 30% mula sa dating 49%. Anuman ang maging resulta ng survey, ay magpapatuloy ang pamahalaan sa pagkilos upang maibsan ang kahirapan at kagutuman sa bansa na naranasan noon.
That was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Tuesday announced that the government exceeded its 2025 targets for employment and poverty reduction. This comes as Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. orders additional reforms to the use of public resources, namely for flood control and climate resilience initiatives. Palace Press Officer and Communications Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro said, President Marcos led the 7th Economic and Development Council, or EDC, meeting where the economic team reported improved labor market outcomes and continued poverty reduction. According to the economic team, the unemployment rate has dropped dramatically from 10.3% in 2020 to 4.7% in 2025, demonstrating a consistent increase in the number of Filipinos with secure jobs. Underemployment has also decreased dramatically from 16.2% in 2020 to 13.6% in 2025, indicating increased job quality and greater skill matching to job openings. The economic team underlined the administration's goal to creating more quality employment and reducing poverty to single-digit levels by 2028. During the conference, President Marcos urged government agencies to handle long-standing challenges such as flood control, climate change effects, and external economic pressures. President Marcos also emphasized the importance of reforming public sector funding to avoid a repeat of anomalous flood control initiatives. On climate action, the President emphasized the significance of better forecasting, reaction, and adaptation using current and appropriate technologies. President Marcos also advocated for more cooperation with other countries, particularly those in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN, in order to strengthen economic stability and regional resilience.
Pinangunahan ng Pangulo ang 7th Economy and Development Council meeting sa Malacañang kahapon. Ang nasabing pagpupulong, binigyan diin ng economic team ng Pangulo na nalampasan ng pamahalaan ang mga target na naglalayong magbigay ng trabaho sa tao at mabawasan ang kahirapan sa bansa noong nakaraang taon. Noong 2020, umabot sa 10.3% ang unemployment rate sa bansa. Naitala ang 4.7% noong 2025. Ibig sabihin nito ay dumarami na ang mga kababayan nating may disenteng trabaho. Ayon din sa economic team, naitala ang underemployment rate na 16.2% noong 2020. Ibig sabihin, maraming mga manggagawa ang may trabaho ngunit hindi angkop sa kanilang galing o sapat sa kanilang pangangailangan. Nitong nakaraang taon, malaki ang ibinaba nito at umabot sa 13.6%. Senyales na mas maraming tao ang nakahanap ng mas angkop at mas sapat na trabaho. Binigyan diin ng economic team na nanatili pa rin ang paninindigan ng pamahalaan na lumikha ng mas marami at mas dekalidad na trabaho at pababain ang antas ng kahirapan hanggang maging single digit ito sa taong 2028. Sa datos ng economic team, bumaba ang bilang ng mga taong naghihirap ng 2.4 million mula noong 2021 hanggang 2023. Naitala ang 17.5 million poverty incidents noong 2023. Mas maliit kung ikukumpara sa 19.9 million noong 2021. Ito ay tugma sa huling survey na nagpakita ng pagbaba ng poverty incidence rate sa bansa. Nananatili pa ring manageable ang inflation rate sa bansa. Ipinag-utos naman ng Pangulo na bigyan tugon ang flood control issue, epekto ng climate change at ilang external forces na sumusubok sa ekonomiya ng bansa. Naniniwala ang Pangulo na kailangan magkaroon ng reforma sa paggamit ng pondo ng bayan upang hindi na maulit ang nangyari noong mga nakaraang mga maanumalyang flood control projects. Sa usapin ng climate change, iginiit ng Pangulo na kailangan magkaroon ng maayos na forecasting, response at adaptation ang bansa sa pamamagitan ng angkop at modernong teknolohiya. Binigyan din ng Pangulo na dapat pang palakasin ng pamahalaan ang pakikipag-ugnayan sa ibang bansa lalo na sa ASEAN upang patatagin ang usaping pang-ekonomiya.
That was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang refuted assertions of de facto martial law in the Philippines on Tuesday, stating that such accusations are false and that the rule of law still applies. Palace Press Officer and Communications Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro made the comment in response to remarks made by Batangas Representative Leandro Leviste, who claimed that critics of the administration are intimidated or targeted for prosecution. When questioned on whether such words could influence public opinion, considering Leviste's popularity, Castro referred reporters to their own experiences. Castro also refuted claims that government critics are being persecuted for exposing corruption, pointing that Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has not sought charges against his critics despite repeated accusations.
Not all wrong opinions deserve a response from the palace. Yun lang. Unang-una po, mismong mga taga-media, kayo po na miyembro ng MPC ay makakaramdam kung totoo po ba ang kanyang mga sinasabi. Kung may mga kritiko, makikita naman po natin panay-panay ang pag-akusa, pagbibigay ng mga masasakit na salita na walang katotohanan kay Pangulo. Pero ang Pangulo mismo ay hindi po nagsasampa ng kaso. Kung lumalabag po sa batas, ang sino mang mga nagsasalita o may ginagawang aksyon, nararapat lamang po na sila ay makasuhan dahil po may batas na umiiral sa atin.
That was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Tuesday, Malacañang applauded House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos for voluntarily withdrawing from impeachment proceedings against his father, Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., describing the decision as proper and statesmanlike. Palace Press Officer and Communications Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro said the young legislator's choice to withdraw from proceedings on an impeachment case against his own father demonstrated integrity and respect for democratic institutions. When queried if the president instructed his son to refrain, Castro stated that the chief executive did not meddle with the Ilocos Norte representative's activities. Castro further said that Representative Marcos understands his legal responsibilities as an elected official. Following the filing of a second impeachment accusation against the president on Monday, the House Majority Leader announced his decision to rescue himself.
Yes, the act of Congressman Sandro Marcos inhibiting himself voluntarily from this issue, especially regarding the impeachment complaint filed against his own father, it is a hallmark of a statesman. It shows his character, it shows his decency, and we believe that it is the right thing to do. Hindi po nakikialam ang Pangulo sa mga anumang aksyon na gagawin ng kanyang anak dahil ang alam po niya, kailangan lamang pong tumpad ng kanyang anak sa mandato. Bilang public servant, alam po ni Congressman Marcos kung ano po ang sinasabi ng batas at ano po ang dapat niyang gawin.
Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on Wednesday backed the decision of his son, House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos, to inhibit himself from all impeachment proceedings involving the chief executive. In a video released by the Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, the president said he only learned of his son's move through news reports, not through a direct conversation. President Marcos said he fully supports the inhibition, noting that the Ilocos Norte 1st District representative would naturally have a bias in his favor. The president added that Sandro's recusal helps protect the integrity of the process. The younger Marcos announced his inhibition after a second impeachment complaint was filed against the president on Monday. He clarified that while House rules do not require him to step aside, saying that leadership sometimes calls for restraint rather than participation.
Hindi, nabalitaan ko sa news din. Hindi niya sinasabi sa akin. Pero tama yung ginagawa niya. That's very proper. Dahil I'm his father. And siyempre meron siyang bias for me. Kahit pilitin mo na walang bias, meron talaga siyang sana naman magkabias siya, no? Dahil anak mo siya. But,
Pero hindi, sir, eh. Hindi, eh.
Hindi, pero tama yan. He should recuse himself. He should remove himself from the process so that the process can be seen to be fair and proper.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Wednesday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said he is now in stable condition and remains fit to perform his duties, despite his doctor's advice to rest following a diverticulitis diagnosis. The Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, on Wednesday evening released a video update on the president's health. In the video, President Marcos said he is taking prescribed antibiotics and medication to treat diverticulitis, an inflammation of small pouches in the colon. President Marcos said he returned to work on Monday, presiding over the 7th Economic and Development Council meeting at Malacañang for over 2 hours to discuss major government projects awaiting approval. He noted that his condition is improving and that he can now eat solid food after a brief period of dietary restrictions to ease his stomach. President Marcos thanked the public of their well wishes and assured that government operations continue without disruption.
By now, ang giling ng mga doktor ko. Binigyan lang ako ng mga gamot. At saka patuloy pa rin yung aking antibiotics. Pero okay na ako. In fact, nakapag-EDC meeting na kami nung Lunes with most of the cabinet. So I'm back in pero medyo nagtatampo sa akin yung mga doktor ko. Kasi sinasabi nila, wag muna. Sabi ko, hindi ko naman pwede pag-antayin lahat ng mga nangyayari. So, tinuloy ko na lang. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng tao that have been concerned about my health. At maraming nagpadala ng mga mensahe na gumaling ka na kagad. Sabi ko, at nagpapasalamat ako sa kanila. Thank you for your concern. But I said, I got the best the best possible medical care that you can have, and that's why I'm already back in harness. In fact, nung sinasabi magpahinga ka, medyo na bored ako nung weekend. Sinasabi ko, no, I have to do something. Sabi ko, so binasa ko na lang lahat ng brief ko. So, medyo up to date na ngayon ako. Sinabi ko sa inyo last week, ito yung mga inaantay na ako mamatay. Huwag kayong excited. Nasumobra na naman ang pagka-excited ninyo. Andito pa ako. I'm running the government. We're doing everything that needs to be done. Walang patid ang trabaho ng gobyerno.
To palace reporters, President Marcos was even seen playing with his dog, Oreo. Meanwhile, the PCO condemned the circulation of what it described as fabricated and malicious claims regarding the president's health, including a fake medical document shared online. The PCO said Malacañang is reviewing legal options following the circulation of fabricated documents and false information. The PCO urged the public to rely only on official statements from authorized government sources and to refrain from amplifying unverified and malicious content.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines has formally taken the helm of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Business Advisory Council, or ASEAN-BAC, following a ceremonial turnover held Thursday at Malacañang Palace in Manila. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. looked on as Jose Maria Concepcion III accepted the ASEAN BOC flag, marking the official transfer of leadership from Malaysia to the Philippines. In his remarks, President Marcos underscored the country's commitment to driving stronger economic cooperation across Southeast Asia. He said the Philippines, as this year's ASEAN BOC chair, will champion the development of economic corridors designed to boost trade and investment, reinforce regional supply chains, and widen opportunities for businesses and communities. The president emphasized that the Philippines will advance initiatives that are forward-looking, inclusive, and responsive, aligning with ASEAN BOC's 4 priority pillars: people, planet, platform, and productivity. These efforts, he noted, include empowering MSMEs, workers, youth, and women, enhancing food security and agricultural output, accelerating digital transformation and artificial intelligence or AI adoption, and strengthening industry growth and regional integration. President Marcos also highlighted the need to turn ASEAN BOC's aspirations into concrete action, guided by this year's ASEAN theme, Navigating Our Future Together. He reaffirmed the Philippines' commitment to expanding trade and investment opportunities as ASEAN pushes toward inclusive and sustainable progress. The chief executive added that ASEAN's success rests on cooperation, mutual trust, and shared accountability, principles that, he said, transform uncertainty into opportunity and lasting development.
As the Philippines assumes the ASEAN BOC chairship, it is guided by our theme as this year's ASEAN chair, Navigating Our Future Together. This theme speaks clearly to our emerging needs and challenges. Across the region, economies are transforming, technologies are advancing, societies are progressing, all towards inclusive growth. ASEAN ensures that progress is guided by cooperation, strengthened by mutual trust, and anchored in common accountability. This is how we turn uncertainty into opportunity and change into lasting progress. Under the Philippine chairship, we place strong emphasis on building economic corridors that expand trade and investment, strengthen regional supply chains, and open doors of opportunity for businesses and communities across ASEAN. We note that the ASEAN BOC's priorities for this year, anchored on 4 pillars: people, planet, platform, and productivity, are fully supportive of these priorities. These initiatives include empowering micro, small, and medium enterprises, workers, youth, and women, strengthening food security and agricultural productivity, advancing a digital and AI-enabled ASEAN, and boosting industry growth and regional integration across key sectors.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download eVox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.